Hey guys, it's been a terrible week at work. I was swamped with deadlines and it was a short week, so while most would have gotten a day off work, I simply had my usual 5 days of work crammed into 4. Now, not only that, I actually have more than 5 days worth of work this week. Now, regardless, I thought I should still be keeping up with my videos and doing my sharing with you guys. There was a request over the week in the comment section below asking about the songs that I use to test out my speakers. I do have a list of about a dozen songs in the playlist which I use to audition speakers and audio equipment. If you have been keeping up with my videos, you would have known that I've gotten my hands on a pair of Sonos Fives. And yes, the first thing that I did when I got these speakers was to put them through their paces by launching into this exact playlist. So stick around for the songs that I use to test out my speakers. If you're new to my channel, a very big welcome to this humble community in which I share all my knowledge and experience on wireless audio. I've been dabbling in audio for about 30 years now, and over the years have paid my dues to wires and cables linking up my equipment and speakers. Today's technology is advanced to the point where I feel that wireless audio quality is actually so good that it is possible to enjoy music without having to rely on wires running all over the house. If this specific area of audio equipment appeals to you, do consider joining this community by subscribing to this channel. Stick around long enough and you will find that I pay very specific attention to Sonos products. You will also realize that no one analyzes the performance of Sonos products like I do. Without further ado, let me share with you the top 7 songs that I use to test my speakers. I don't usually have the time to audition equipment with all the songs I want to, but these are the top 7 songs that I never fail to play on new equipment to evaluate their performance. And if you are short on time, let me just give you the list right up here so you can get on with your life instead of listening to me go on and on. The top 7 songs are Bass, I Love You by the Bass Mechanic. It's used to test bass. First Cells from the movie soundtrack of Lucy by Eric Serra, also used to test bass. Red Right Hand, theme song from The Peaky Blinders by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. I use it to test male vocals and bass and dynamic range of speakers. The Sheffield Drum Record, basic drummer free improvisation by the very talented Jim Keltner for testing mid-bass and percussion energy. It Ain't Me, the acoustic version by Kina Granis, testing vocals and soundstage. Something in the Rain from a Korean drama of the same name by Rachel Yamagata. I use it to test female vocals and bass. And lastly, a live Cantonese vocal rendition of a track from the musical Snow Wolf Lake by Kit Chan. I'm linking my 28 minutes Spotify playlist in the video's description below, and you can just click through and enjoy my selection to test out your equipment. For my patrons on Patreon, I would have released this list to you ahead of time. And if you are keen to get early access as well as to participate in the sharing of the list of your songs, do consider contributing to my coffee fund in Patreon to get updates. I'm also linking my Patreon link in the video description below. And if you're still sticking around, stay on and let me introduce you to the specific parts in the songs to listen out to. Arm yourself with the knowledge of what to listen out for and better appreciate your equipment. First up, we have Bass, I Love You. This is from Bassatronics, Bass Mechanic. The song starts off with electronic bird chirpings. You can hear the ambience here, but nothing challenging for most speakers. Now, if you find this part too sharp and piercing, consider lowering the treble response of your setup if you have access to the equalizer. Now, you don't have to wait long for the electronic bass to kick in, and at about the 11 seconds mark, a very strong bass line will kick in. This will break your speakers. Not break literally, but if you can't hear it, you'll be missing parts of a song. Now, if you hear this, you will know what I mean when the bass kicks you in the chest. You will feel it. This will pull a capable speaker miles ahead of one that cannot replicate this frequency. The rest of the song is more of the same and not very different in what you're hearing in the first 30 seconds. Now until you get to 2 minutes 43 seconds mark, a very subtle bass line will kick in. That passage is relatively quiet and you can really appreciate the bass quality. It is soft, but just listen out. If you can hear it, consider your speakers a pass in the bass department. The second song, First Sales. This is from the Lucy soundtrack, composed by Eric Serra. This song may literally break your speakers. When I was messing around with home theater setup, I've always tested new subwoofers with this particular track. It opens up to an extremely heavy bass line. It is so heavy that some of you might just be hearing flapping sounds. Now if you hear flapping, you're hearing it wrong, and it means that your speaker's limits have been reached. It should sound very clean. Listen out carefully, and if you aren't sure if you are hearing it like it is supposed to, find a reference system and baseline your listening on the reference system. There are also very subtle background notes. You should be able to hear them too, but if the speakers and the amps that you're using are already being taxed by the bass notes, the background tune and ambient sounds may not be reproduced properly. If the soundtrack is not laid out properly for you, you might need more power in your setup. This track is also a very good test for your amp's damping factor. Now, common knowledge amongst a lot of audiophiles is that the more powerful your amp is, the better it will move your speaker cones. But what you might not know is the term damping factor. Computation of the damping factors aside, it serves as an indication of how capable your amp is in stopping the cone when the bass notes end. If the cones aren't stopped effectively, the bass note lingers and then it starts to sound quite flabby. The song will test that. If you find that the track is sounding flabby, the amp's damping factor might be a little on the low side. This track, Red Right Hand by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. This is a quirky piece of music, a lot of subtle notes throughout, and you have to keep listening out to them. Some of them are quite easy to catch, but the opening bass line is actually pretty soft, and if reproduced properly, it anchors the entire song throughout. At about 17 seconds mark, the male vocal will kick in. The voice is deep and it should appear locked right in the middle. If there's a pull of the vocals to either side of the speakers aren't balanced well enough. And if the vocals sound like it surrounds you, the face of the speaker is wrong and that's not what you're supposed to be hearing. At about 54 seconds mark, a pair of bass notes comes from the left. And they are very soft. If you don't hear it, the speaker's dynamic range might not be sufficiently wide enough to handle this part. And the rest of the song will test the dynamic range of the speakers. The part from 3 minutes 22 seconds to 3 minutes 53 seconds swings the dynamic range wildly. If you're hearing a mess in this passage, you will know that the dynamic range of the speaker is limited. Up next is the Basic Drummer Free Improv, and this is from the Sheffield Drum Record and done by a very talented Jim Keltner percussionist. This is a strange track that starts very slow, but the energy is built up and peaks a few times throughout the entire 7 minutes track. In fact, you might think that the first note kicks in only at about 13 seconds, but in actual fact, there are some very subtle notes before that which you might have missed. At 1 minute 19 seconds, there's a right to left panning of the drumming on the rim of the bass, of the drums. Click, click, click. It tests the instrument placement well enough and it's very satisfying to listen to. For most parts of this long track, you'll be rewarded with the ebb and flow of energy if you're patient enough to make it through the whole track. There is no tune to it, just a couple of energetic release from drummers. Now between 4 minutes 8 seconds to 4 minutes 30 seconds, there's a whistling, which again is very subtle, and you'll want to hear them and be able to tell where the whistling is placed and where it's coming from. The triangle and drums then kick in, and there's this stretch which I enjoy quite a bit. At 4 minutes 45 seconds, there's a voice to the left and the back of the stage. You might not catch that if your setup is not subtle enough. Now listen up for this. If you can catch it, this is something that you can revel in, knowing that your setup is subtle enough to handle this. The energy carries through the rest of the song, and there are many exciting bits all the way to the end. The last 1 minute, especially from 6 minutes 11 seconds onwards, has many softer and subtle notes. Turn up the volume and listen to every bit there. It is very satisfying. This next track, It Ain't Me, the acoustic version by Kina Grannis and Kurt Hugo Snyder. Kina Grannis has a very powerful and smooth voice, and I've always enjoyed her singing, but Kina's vocals in this song are underused. The vocals aren't actually of interest in this recording. The acoustic in this recording is great. At the 10 seconds mark, when the shakers come in, I think on the right, it will pan to the left at about 21 seconds mark. You will know that this song is actually very, very special. At the 30 seconds mark, the bass line kicks in and you will feel the bass wash right all over you. If you find that it gets messy here, it means that the speakers aren't resolving the details enough to handle both the strong bass as well as the subtle tones. Now all the way through to 1 minute 18 seconds, you'll find more and more acoustic sounds being layered into the track along with the guitar. The whole song is about layering of all these sounds. Listen to them. I can't overanalyze this song except to introduce it to you and show you how enjoyable a highly resolving pair of speakers is going to do for this piece. You'll hear sounds coming from all around you, and if placed properly, the sounds will be coming from beyond the speaker's cabinet. You will find that your eyes are following the placement of the sound. It really, really tests the sound staging capabilities of your speakers. The highlight of this song is the last 1 second. At 2 minutes 37, there is a bass drop, a very, very powerful bass drop. If your speakers and amp are powerful enough, you will hear that. Lesser speakers won't produce that at all. Now note this part, invite your friends over, let them hear that bit. It will surprise them that, why is it that they have never heard that part before? This song here, Something in the Rain, is by Rachel Yamagata. Rachel's vocals are rough and a little bit coarse, but it's a very soothing voice. The song is a very easy listen. I've enjoyed the show. It's a Korean drama with my wife while it was showing on Netflix. So I guess the song means more when you can place a story to it. Now, you might think that this song is a test for vocals and mid-range hearing it, but when the bass note kicks in at 1 minute 15 seconds, you will get blown away on a bass-capable system. The layering of the bass under the vocals produces a very, very enjoyable track. Now, when I was watching this series on TV, I was listening to it through the TV speakers. While I liked the song, nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the sonic quality of the song when I played it back with a proper setup. The voice is very well locked to the center, and the bass line simply wasn't something that I heard when watching the show over the TV speakers. This last song here is a Kit Chan musical. It's done live in Hong Kong, 1997. Kit Chan is a Singapore singer from about an era ago. She's not active today, but back in her heydays, she was one of the most powerful singers on the scene, and she really did Singapore proud. She played a major role in the musical Snow Wolf Lake alongside Jackie Chung, one of the most successful cantopop singers in the history of modern music. Now, to be honest with you, I don't understand anything more than 5 words in the whole song. But that's the beauty of music, right? I've been listening to this song consistently year after year for the last 20 over years. The song was recorded live from the 1997 performance in Hong Kong. Reproduced properly, you'll hear the power in her voice. Now, it is rare that a voice reaches this level of dynamism and power without processing. Transitions are very smooth, and the whole rendition is super musical, even without supporting instrumentation. And in fact, there is no instrument until 1 minute 26, and that is the beauty of her voice. If the speaker I'm listening to doesn't convey this power in her voice, I turn the speaker away. I know this is likely a song that most of my viewers won't understand, but I'm recommending it to you. Let me know in the comment section below if you enjoy it. And yes, I repeat, I don't understand Cantonese either, but I've enjoyed this song forever. Now this concludes my short recommendation for the songs that I used to test out the Sonos Fives, but don't limit yourself. Use the list on your headphones, on your earbuds, on your stereo system, on your surround sound system. Test out your subs. Now, do share with the rest of the community if you have any songs that you love and use to test out your system and speakers. That's all I have today, and I'll see you in my next video that I'll be releasing over the weekend with the Sonos Fives acting as the rear speaker channels in a full surround setup from Sonos. I will be pairing it up with the Sonos Arc and the Sonos Sub Gen 3. Okay, I'll see you in that video then. Okay, let's see. This is the surround. What am I gonna do? Yeah. Oh, it is a little bit dusty.
Remove the dust.
Can you believe that I have not set it up in the surround environment? I have really been very busy. But next video, I promise you, I will pair these guys up with this guy, with this guy. The entire Sonos 2020 roundup. Can you see me?